Good morning, Brussels. Are you ready for an exciting day? We've been looking forward to this for a while. 50 years from now, the human being will be a human being. Yeah. But our technological surroundings will have changed significantly, and in ways it's really hard to predict. Today is about the future, and we are trying to look into the deep future, which is a really, really hard thing to do. One of my fellow Danes once said, he was a philosopher, they tend to do these things, he said, it's really hard to predict stuff, especially about the future. And if you look at past predictions of the future, there are so many things that have gone wrong. There are so many things that we wanted to believe that turn out not actually to be the case. And equally often, we have projected things that turn out to be way too modest because technology advanced pretty much faster than we thought it ever would. And this is the kind of scenario that we are going to be talking about today. But I'd like to begin this talk by taking you to a dream that I had. And this was a dream that occurred to me at the time when we were in the early stages of production of the Geminoid DK. At this point, there were so many things going through my mind. We wanted to take this new technology to the West, and we had no idea how this was going to turn out. We literally did not know what was going to happen. What we did know was that my face would be on the line. And the other thing that kept going on here was that we were quite sure that this was going to be the start of something, but we had no idea what it was going to be the start of. So these things were turmoiling through my mind day and night, and I had this dream. I'm at a party in the valley. I'm sitting on a couch somewhere. It looks like a hotel lobby, something like that. It's a beautiful place. There were some people dancing in the background. Someone's hanging at the bar. It's a group of people talking to an old guy discussing something really important, it seems. And I'm left there to my own thought, sitting quietly, looking around. And as I sit there, looking around, I realize that I have become the Geminoid. So I'm in that room, but I have essentially become the android. And I'm looking at the room with my android eyes, and I'm looking and sensing the room and the stuff around it with my android senses. And I see my friend coming from across the room. It's a nice person. I know him. We go way back. I recognize him. He's walking towards me. He has a beer in his hand. He looks happy, and he comes over closer. And I look up. I look at my friend and I say, hey there, what's going on?
Hey there, what's going on?
And as he comes over, he wants to sit down, and he looks at the table in front of me and says, do you need a beer? And I hesitate for a little while, and I say, no thanks. I'm good.
No thanks.
But you go ahead.
I'm good. But you go ahead, though.
Because essentially, at this point, I realize that I do have a mouth, but I cannot swallow. I do have a torso, but I have no way of processing drink or food. But he doesn't seem to mind, so we start talking. After a little while, he moves on, talks to some other people. And I'm sitting there again on my own, thinking about what's going to happen next. And then I realize two things. The first thing I realize is that I am actually in the future. I'm in the deep future. There is stuff around me that doesn't make sense otherwise. And the second thing I realize is that all the other people in the room are androids too. All of them. And this is kind of strange. So I'm sitting there looking, and a group of girls come over. I know them from before. We start talking, we share a few laughs. One of them seems to be a little bit anxious about stuff. She keeps turning her head towards the dance floor. And she says to me, do you want to dance? And again, I hesitate. And I say,
Kind of you to ask, but I think I'll pass on this one. But go knock yourself out.
I'll pass on this one because I realize that I have legs, but I can't move them. There are no actuators in my legs because I'm an android from 2011. And as I look around and I see all these things moving around me, all the androids there, who are significantly more advanced than me, I realize that I am getting old, which is of course strange. Enough of the dreams, let's go to the actual future, the physical real. So what are we looking at here in the physical real? The Android reality of today is that we are making a lot of advances. And it's actually looking quite promising in many areas, but there are still some problems that we need to be solved. The main challenges that we're looking at today
You think?
are, he's always interfering in my work. That's very strange. I should have gotten used to it by now. Let's go past this. When we look at the things that's going to happen in the future, there are three things that we need to establish first. Point number one is really this. Technology will saturate deeply the way that we think about everything. Today, computers are mostly used for the stuff that goes on in our work life. We use computers to understand better. We use computers to work. And most people today find it really, really hard to imagine going to work without having a computer around. Sometimes, when the servers go down, we sit there. What are we to do? Pick up the phone? Can't do that. It's an IP phone. Nothing goes on anymore. What we see here is that the technology is saturating our work lives very, very deeply. What we will see in the future is that technology will saturate our personal lives even deeper. And we have no way actually of predicting precisely how that's going to happen. The second thing that's going to happen is that interfaces will diversify to a degree that we have never even dreamed of before. And the third thing that's going to happen is that many of these new technologies that will emerge are going to have bodies of different kinds. And when I look at this essentially spells Android. There are a lot of challenges in modern day robotics. One has to do with sensing. And we have come a long way in computer vision, in things like that, but there are many other sensors around. There are now computers that can sniff wine and tell you pretty close to where this particular wine origins, but it's difficult. Navigation is not just about getting from A to B. It's about getting there safely. And if you're working inside a warehouse, that's fine. But if you're working in the street and there are people living there and children playing, it's quite different. Handling is a really, really big issue. The algorithms for picking up a cup, moving it, pouring a drink into it and go back is extremely complicated still. And after 40 years of robotics, we're still seeing demos of robots opening beers and things like that. The human interface, like this one, is also something that we are looking at very detailed, but it's we are getting there, but we are not moving maybe as fast as we thought we would. Autonomy is really the big thing, because we want at some point to have all these machines moving around completely autonomous. But there are a lot of problems related to that. These are just some of the areas that we are concerned with in present-day robotics. I'm going to talk just about briefly about one of them. But the super challenge in all of this is combining all the stuff that we see around us, which is really, really difficult. We will be seeing a lot of robots in public. Here is my Android teaching a class of students. Some of them actually only realized during the break that this was an Android, which is quite fun. So we're going to see a lot of that, probably. One of the challenges we have is that when we travel, it's really, really difficult today. So maybe in the future it's going to be more easy to travel with Androids.
That would be really nice.
It would be really nice to be able to travel with the Androids easier. Perhaps even it's going to be the case that the Androids move through the airports faster than we do. I still hope that. And by the end of time here, hopefully I will be the one being pushed around in the Android, by the Android. Thank you very much.